Hello everyone, welcome back again to Liverpool Report today. We've got the latest updates on our beloved club Liverpool, but before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of Liverpool Report news. Let's get started. Trent Alexander-Arnold marked his return to action for Liverpool with a belting goal to put them on the brink of winning the Premier League title. The Reds' right-back, who's expected to join Real Madrid on a free transfer this summer, rifled home in the second half after Arneslot turned to him for inspiration. Alexander-Arnold wasted no time to light up a drab affair, one which confirmed Leicester's relegation. Ruud van Nistelrooy's side needed to win, but suffered their 9th successive defeat at home without scoring. Liverpool supporters hoped to go into the game knowing that victory would confirm their 20th league title, but Arsenal had other ideas. The Gunners cruised to a 4-0 win away to 10-man Ipswich earlier the day, meaning that the champagne will have to stay in the fridge on Merseyside for at least a few more days. Here are 5 talking points from the King Power Stadium. Having only had the Premier League to focus on for the last month, Liverpool's performances, particularly in the first half of games, have been markedly less impressive. Slot has been quick to remind journalists and pundits that going into Sunday's game, the Reds had won 5 of their last 6 league matches, and rightly so. But supporters have been critical of their displays in recent weeks, and despite 14 attempts on goal in the first half, they weren't happy here. Sleepwalking again, one fan posted on X. Pedestrian, another bemoaned. The best chance of the half fell to Mo Salah inside the first 2 minutes, but he hit both posts after looking certain to score. Leicester looked a threat going forwards, seemingly buoyed by last weekend's 2-2 comeback at Brighton, and were searching for their first league goal at home since December. Wilfred Ndidi hit the post with a long-range effort in the 10th minute, although Van Nistelrooy's side could only muster one more shot before half-time. It was goalless and lifeless at the break. Before the season started, Liverpool's midfield was the main area of concern. How would they cope without a recognised number 6? Should they have signed an alternative to £51 million transfer target Martin Zubimendi? Well, Alexis McAllister and his partner Ryan Gravenberch have allayed those fears. In a half sorely lacking quality in 2 end thirds, it was McAllister who dominated the midfield. The Argentina international had created the most chances 3, won the most duels 5 and made the most tackles 3 of any player on the pitch by half-time. The question is, does Liverpool's midfield still need adding to? Where's Cody Gakpo put his shooting boots? Over the winter, the Dutch forward was banging in the goals, but now hasn't scored for Liverpool since February 6th. His solitary strike since then came for the Netherlands against Spain in the Nations League quarter-finals last month. You have to go even further back to find Gakpo's last Premier League goal, as he struck twice against Ipswich on January 25th. The former PSV Eindhoven star only lasted an hour at the King Power, with Slot making the changes minutes after Ricardo Pereira blocked Gakpo's goal-bound shot. Diogo Jota came on in his place, having scored 9 goals against Leicester in his previous 14 games. For the first time since a surge of reports claimed that Alexander-Arnold has agreed to join Real Madrid, the defender stepped out onto the pitch for his boyhood club for his 350th appearance. In what could prove to be one of his final games for Liverpool, Alexander-Arnold returned from an injury which kept him out of the Reds' previous 4 games, including the Carabao Cup final. His introduction alongside Harveyelliott came shortly after Leicester had a goal ruled out. Conor Coady prodded home after Alisson Becker failed to deal with an aerial ball, but it was disallowed due to a foul on the Liverpool goalkeeper by Patson Daka. Alexander-Arnold didn't take long to make an impact, having won a corner when his cross was blocked by Luke Thomas. After a goalmouth scramble, the ball fell to Liverpool's number 66, and he belted a left-footed strike on the bounce through a crowd of red and blue shirts and through Mads Hermansen. Taking his shirt off and celebrating passionately in front of the away end, you could see what it meant to Alexander-Arnold, who was booked after celebrating the first left-footed goal of his career. Leicester appealed vehemently for a foul, but the goal stood. They needed a miracle, and it never came. Leicester will play in the Championship next season after becoming the second team after Southampton to have their relegated. Van Nistelrooy has already admitted that the Foxes are planning for the future, but this game will have given him some encouragement for a potential promotion push in 2026. There's now only one relegation spot remaining, which Ipswich will almost certainly fill in the coming weeks. Arneslot has denied that Darwin Núñez clashed with a member of Liverpool's coaching staff during training last week, which resulted in him being snubbed from the matchday squad that beat West Ham at Anfield. The Uruguayan has not been a guaranteed starter throughout the campaign, but to not even make the 20-man squad that feature in a Premier League game was headline-worthy. Núñez's future has been very much under the spotlight as he continues to struggle for consistency. There are rumours of a summer exit for the former Benfica man, who remains the club's most expensive signing. But Slot insists he wasn't overlooked for selection, for reportedly having words with a member of the coaching staff, which resulted in him leaving a training session. Núñez will travel to Leicester with Slot, claiming he was simply not feeling himself last week. The Dutchman said he didn't feel himself the day before the match, and he went inside, and he wasn't able to be part of the team the day after. The Liverpool manager was then asked if he had words with a staff member, to which Slot replied, "No, he didn't. He did leave the pitch because he didn't feel himself." Núñez has only started 8 times in the Premier League, but has featured 42 times in all competitions. In that time, he's managed to return just 7 goals with his finishing in front of goal, still a major work-on for the Uruguayan, who was called out by his manager after missing glorious chance against Aston Villa. Slot has criticised Núñez for his work rate against Wolves and Villa in February. He said after the stalemate at Villa Park, "What was a bit harder for me to accept was his behaviour after that chance. I think it got too much in his head, where he wasn't the usual Darwin that works his off and makes sure he helps the team." Núñez has been linked with a move to Saudi Arabia, which could prove lucrative for the Reds and help them cut their losses should they choose to cash in. The Liverpool manager made few changes to the squad in his first summer at the helm, but has confessed new energy would prove beneficial. He said, "I think the core of the team you want to keep as long as you can together, as long as they are performing in the best possible way. But it is also in general good to have some new energy in and around the place with 1 or 2 players. That I agree on. But it isn't really a necessity when you look at the quality we have and the quality of the season we have had." Hindsight is a wonderful thing. But Ruud van Nistelrooy spoke way too soon when he questioned Cody Gakpo's move to Liverpool. It was just 6 games into the Dutch forward's time at Anfield when Van Nistelrooy said Gakpo got it wrong by picking Liverpool over Manchester United. Maybe it was his loyalty to his former club, but it was weird then. It's very wrong now. Gakpo didn't set the world alight initially when he left PSV, where Van Nistelrooy was his manager, to move to Liverpool in January 2023. The Reds were struggling in one of their worst seasons under Jurgen Klopp, but there were reasons for it. And Gakpo's signing was part of the German manager's refresh of his squad. He just arrived a little earlier. That was because Liverpool knew United were sniffing around the player. Van Nistelrooy knew that too. He wanted Gakpo to join United. He said Gakpo wanted to join United, but he signed for Liverpool. As far as I know, Gakpo has always dreamed of playing for Manchester United, and he was in talks with Erik ten Hag since August, Van Nistelrooy said in February 2023. I also wanted him to play for United, but the club didn't make an offer in January. When I heard about Liverpool, I discussed it with him and told him to wait until the summer. Gakpo talked with Van Dijk in the last few days, and he convinced him. Manchester United is a club that has always believed in young players, and their Gakpo would find the right spaces to grow, especially when there are midfielders like Fernandes or Casemiro in the team today. But now things are different. Liverpool is not having a good season, and this has consequences, because I know it very well, and everyone will be affected. Van Nistelrooy will go up against his former player this weekend when Liverpool head to Leicester City. The fact it is a game which could secure the Reds the Premier League title proves to Gakpo that he made the right decision and that Van Nistelrooy's words were not so wise. Of course, it's easy to pick them apart now. Back then, it did look like Ten Hag was turning United back into a top team, but they soon went in the opposite direction. Coincidentally, it did start to unravel when they got stuffed 7-0 at Anfield by Liverpool a few weeks later. Gakpo scored twice that day. The Dutch forward may have been a success at Old Trafford, but given the changes there since then, it would not have been easy. Instead, he is flourishing at Anfield under a bald Dutchman, but it is Arne Slot and not Ten Hag. He has 16 goals this season for the Reds. But if he gets more on Sunday to put Liverpool one step closer to the title and potentially relegated Leicester, Van Nistelrooy really will be wishing he joined United.